Hey, what's going on, everybody? Goofy Rexy here, coming to you today with another video. So today's video is actually going to be on characters versus teams. You may have, you may not have, but I did make two previous videos here talking about character progression points, what they are, and why you should use them or implement them on your roster. Today's video is going to be a follow-up to those two videos, but it's going to be taking a little bit of a different angle. In the previous two videos, I talked about building out fully synergized teams and only really progressing characters or teams through progression points, once you actually have the full slated team, a full synergized slated team. But today's video is going to be talking about when it is the right time for you to invest into individual characters as opposed to investing into full-on synergized teams. So that's what we're going to be going through today. But of course, guys, before we dive right into the video, if you guys could do me a huge favor and hit the subscribe button, it really supports and helps the channel. Also, as well, it makes sure that these videos, as well as other helpful videos that I make on this channel, can also reach the right people. So hit the subscribe button. Also make sure that you're leaving a like, that you're leaving a comment too as well. It really does help in a lot of ways. And also, guys, I do have my other links. I mentioned it before, but I do stream on Twitch Tuesday through Friday, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 9, and I also stream on Wednesdays and Fridays at 10. That is 10 p.m. That is all Eastern Standard Time when you'll be able to catch and find me on there. And I also do have links to my other pages too as well, my Twitter page, as well as my Discord. Please hop in my Discord, chat with me, and then I'm going to be pulling in some other, social media platforms too as well, so that you guys can connect with me there too. But yeah, so let's dive right into the video. Alright guys, so first and foremost, when it comes to investing into individual characters versus investing into fully synergized teams, the first thing that I want to make mention is that obviously each individual character, right, is going to be a part of some sort of team. They may not be a part of a fully synergized team, but there will be teamed up with a group of characters that have what you want to call organic synergy, right? So I think that I want to make sure that I mention that first, that obviously you're building up individual characters, but they're still going to be a part of some sort of a team. A perfect example of that is when you comes to your arena shard, or battling in arena. In the very beginning part of this game, or in really kind of as you progress throughout this game, sometimes you don't have access to fully synergized teams, but you do have access to really good characters or really good tunes. So it makes sense, instead of just waiting for that fully synergized team to come along, for you to just use the good characters that you have now to build them up individually. Maybe you don't build them up all the way, but maybe you build them up to a certain point so that they can actually be effective for you in the area that you need them to be. So for instance, in arena, currently I have Black Bolt, Magneto, Ultron, Invisible Woman, and Juggernaut. I just recently got Black Bolt. I also do have all the Inhuman characters, but it made sense for me to build up a Black Bolt currently because he is a top arena character and I needed to stay competitive in my arena shard. So that is a particular point where it made sense for me to invest individually into Black Bolt, even though I didn't fully invest into the Inhuman team yet. It made sense for me to individually invest into Black Bolt because Black Bolt is going to be effective for me in arena. He's going to help me to get some punch ups. He's going to help me to win matches. So it made sense for me to invest into Black Bolt. The same lies for Ultron. Ultron doesn't have a fully synergized team, but he's a phenomenal character in this game. So it makes sense for me to invest into Ultron because he's going to be a top character for me in my arena shard. Invisible Woman is another great character too as well that I have used in multiple areas in this game to progress. And if I had said, you know what, I'm going to wait until I have a fully synergized Fantastic Four team. When I unlocked her, I didn't even have Mr. Fantastic. I didn't have Human Torch yet. So what was I going to say? Hey, I'm going to wait until I have my full Fantastic Four team before I invest into Invisible Woman? No, that didn't make any sense. It made sense for me then to go right ahead and to invest into Invisible Woman because she's a strong character in this game, and she was going to help me to progress in my arena shard. And like I said, for you may be in a position where you don't have all the characters required for a fully synergized team, but you do have individual characters that can do really well for you in particular areas in this game. So I would recommend for you to make sure that you invest into those characters. Maybe you don't invest into them all the way, or maybe you do anyways, right? But maybe you don't do that. Maybe you just invest into them so that they can be effective for you in a specific mode or in this game. That's just my thought. Another area where you might want to look into is also campaigns. Very early on in the game, or even a couple months into the game, when it comes to like the heroes and the villains campaign, well, more so the villains campaign, you don't really have a lot of access to specific villain characters or villains, fully synergized villains team, like maybe even like a Sinister Six, or I don't know, your good villains teams that you can think of, Brotherhood, right? You don't have access to fully synergized teams then, but you do have access to some really good characters. I know Venom is a character that, sometimes you can get early in the game right now. I know sometimes people get lucky with Carnage. People get lucky with other early villains characters that you can use. Loki, my baby account, I have Loki, as a character that I got my first month in the game. It made sense for me to invest into him as an individual character because I knew that he would help me to progress throughout the villains campaign, and he's in general just a really good character in this game to use. So that is a particular point in time where it makes sense for me to invest into Loki, even though I didn't have the full-on Asgardian team. So going through campaign nodes is also a considerable time for you to invest into individual characters, even though you may not have that fully synergized team. Another area of the game where you want to consider investing into individual characters is when it comes to raids. Now, not so much your Greek raids. I think overall, once you start to kind of invest into a wider roster, you kind of get characters that you do need in order for you to be able to do Greek raids. So I don't specifically think that you need to target specific individual characters for Greek raids, but I think you do want to target individual characters for U7 or U5 or U6, whatever, right? So in this particular example, in my U7 team, you're going to see that man again. My U7 team is Black Bolt, Symbiote, Spider-Man, Ultron, Minerva, and Yo-Yo. So yes, I have invested into Yo-Yo. She's a good character. But for a long period of time, I didn't have Crystal. I didn't have, Karnak. So I invested into Yo-Yo because I knew that she would be good for me in Raid. She would be good for me in other areas in the game. Black Bolt, I just got him. Once again, invested into him because he's just a really good character overall in a lot of different areas in this game. Symbiote Spider-Man. The symbiotes overall don't really necessarily have a specific symbiote team. It's just really 3 symbiotes in the game, but Symbiote Spider-Man is a very, very good character in this game, so it made sense for me to invest into him as an individual character, even though he may not have a fully synergized team, because I knew that he would be really good for my raid team because he's phenomenal in raids. Ultron obviously has his, you already know about Ultron, and then of course Minerva is also a really good character in this game. So there might be times where you want to invest into specific individual characters to do certain specific things for you, and you may not have the fully synergized team, but hey, go ahead and still invest into those characters anyways, just simply because it does make sense. There are also times too as well where maybe you do have a fully synergized team, but there's certain specific key characters, a part of that team that will also, benefit you if you actually increase and level them up. So primarily for me, when I got my Asgardian team, I built out my Asgardian team to a certain particular level, but I realized that Hela is an phenomenal character, so it made sense for me to invest into her individually, even past the stopping point that I had already put my Asgardians at, simply because I knew that Hela just had that sort of value for me on my roster. I did the same thing, with, a few other characters, in this game. My Star-Lord, I invested into my Star-Lord higher than I invested into my other Guardian characters. I've invested into Magneto more than my other, Brotherhood characters. Juggernaut, I have invested into a little bit more than the other Brotherhood characters too as well. There are certain times where there are individual characters on a particular team that you may want to invest into and bring them to a higher point, just simply because they're fantastic characters that you can use in other areas in this game. There's also some times too as well where fully synergized teams, the characters on those fully synergized teams just suck. So for instance, the Wakandans. The Wakandan team is not really the greatest team in this game. They're not really a good team in this game, but Shuri is a great character on the Wakandan team. So it would make sense for you to invest into Shuri simply because she's such a good character anyways. So why not invest into her? And she's really, really good in raids, and you can also use her as well in U7, which I do other than Minerva at times. There's also Killmonger, who's a really good character for the Mercs, so it made sense to invest into Killmonger individually as maybe opposed to investing into M'Baku and Okoye. So I've put a little bit more investment into Killmonger because I am using him currently with my Mercs team. There are other characters that I can mention too as well on the Defenders team. Even though they haven't scaled very well, the Defenders team does have, or the Pun Fenders team, they do have JJ and do have Punisher. Unfortunately, my Iron Fist got lucky because he has 6 red stars on him, but my JJ and my Punisher, are very good characters. I think Luke Cage got lucky with some red stars on him too and just maxed out. But JJ and Punisher are actually relatively good characters. A little bit too much investment into JJ in my personal opinion, but JJ is a character that is real. It's a good character, that does a lot. That's a very good utility character. Clears debuffs, gives energy, So she's a character that can get some investment earlier on for you in your roster. Punisher is a great damage dealing character too as well, so he can get some individual investment. But once again, Pun Fenders, you don't really want to go too crazy, but I'm just saying, like, there's some times where fully synergized teams, they suck, so it might make sense for you to invest into specific individual characters, or on that fully synergized team, you don't need them to go past a certain particular point, but maybe there's just one character that you want to bring up past the others. There are other times too as well where it just makes sense to invest into individual characters. For instance, Invisible Woman. Invisible Woman is a great character. You don't need her team in order for you to invest into her because she's good, right? Black Bolt is a good example. He's very good. Symbiote Spider-Man, very good. Captain Marvel is a very good character. She has no synergy, but why not invest into Captain Marvel because she's a very, very good character in this game. Miss Marvel is also an honorable mention too, because Miss Marvel makes any brawlers team, doesn't matter, any hero brawlers, it doesn't matter who the hero brawler is, she will make a set of smuck hero brawlers team good simply because of her ability to do assists, also her ability to taunt or to protect them, or by gaining taunt, when playing with the team. So in general, it makes sense to invest into certain particular characters, even though they may not have fully synergized unit. Vision for a long time is on the Power Armor team, still is on my Power Armor team, a really, really, really good character. So it makes sense for you to invest into a character like Vision. There's other honorable mention characters that I can talk about too as well. You know who those characters are. They're still good even outside of a fully synergized team. But listen guys, I'm gonna stop it here. That's just kind of like my spiel on when it's right for you to invest into individual characters as opposed to investing into individual teams. I hope that this video helped you, and if it did or if it didn't, please make sure that you leave a like, and write a comment too as well. Let me know what your thoughts are. What do you think about investing into individual characters as opposed to investing into individual teams? But thank you guys so much again. Please make sure you hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you can know when my videos do go live. Thank you guys so much. Really, really appreciate you. Be blessed and be safe, guys.